Thank you, Alian. Thank you, Suji. Before we get into these things, we have been using AI as because AI has become more popular after the LLM part of it, all the generative AIs of the chat GPTs of the world. So that has become popular, but we have been using AI in different formats even before, also, right? So we have been using it for a longer time, but we may not know it's an AI part. So I just found a cute quote actually. So this is the agenda what you're going to see here. So how AI can support in finance, how are the different ways which AI works in finance, as all you have covered. So I'll just try to sum it up and then the sneak peek of what is coming from Zoho Finance suite of products. So before starting, like this is one of my favorite thing on AI in last I think probably 6 and after the chat GPT has actually get popular, right? So I want AI to do my laundry and dishes so that I can do art and writing, not for AI to do my art and writing so that I can do laundry and dishes, right? You want AI to help you to automate the things. It wants to make your life easy. It wanted to actually save time and cost so that you can focus on more on the core things of your operation and finance. But sometimes whatever we are seeing around the world is actually it's getting the other way. So it's doing things. So probably AI shouldn't overwhelm you, but it should work for you. It should make your life easier so that you can focus on more core things. So what does AI do in finance, right? So mostly the thing AI does in finance and operations is it actually make the automation more easier. It's more leaner finance and operations. It increases the productivity. For example, she was saying about the data capture and all those things. So it makes the employee productivity better. For example, I'll take an example of Zoho Expense, right, which is the travel expense management tool. So what we do is that we have the automatic OCR capture tools and everything, which makes the life easier for the employees so that they don't need to sit in the month end and do your travel expenses. Most of you will do that, right? Because when you don't do expense on the spot, when you're expensing it, you have to sit in the month end so that you focus on submitting your expense invoices and expense rather than actually doing your sales calls or any other thing. So that is what AI has to do for you. It has to make things easier for you so that you have to focus on this thing, right? That is second. Reduce the cost. So probably the AI should help you to reduce the cost. It gives you real-time insights what you're saying because this data is what is the world is moving towards, right? So there's tons and tons of data. So AI should help you to actually read everything and give you insights, detect anomalies, what it's had, if there's any trends or patterns. For example, there is one customer of mine who uses AI to accurately say which dates or which part of a week a particular product sells more. He will be surprised to see there was a result for it. So he was selling water bottles, custom made water bottles with your face on it. For example, the young children. So with their faces made to a cartoon character or a Avenger characters, and then he can customize and sell for it. So normally he know that it sells more during the holiday seasons and the Christmas time and everything, but there are some other seasons also. So he found that and then he actually planned his inventory, he planned his forecasting, demand, everything also. That is more important. How you utilize the data what you have, how you actually make use of it. So that is what AI has to do for you. So then the risk compliance management, which is more important because you can't, for example, take example of your invoices you get from the vendor, the expense reports or the expense receipts what your employees submit. So you can't sit and then see every other duplication or error in invoices or the receipt. So AI has to do that for you. Insights and forecasting, which we talked about, and finally the customer experience, right? So which is the support part and all. So now these are the things which we need to do. It's not as fancy as other kind of products. These are still boring, but it will help you to actually do your finance and operations better. So I try to bucket AI in Zoho Finance in 4 buckets. First is as automation. Second, how it can help you to manage compliance. And third, analytics, forecasting, and health support. So I will split the presentation into 2 parts. One, what are we doing right now, and what we will get into, right? So the first part we'll talk about what are we doing right now. First is on the automation part. So AI powered automation. So it helps you to focus on what matters most to you. First, for example, I don't know, a lot of you will be selling your stuffs online, your products online. So this is one feature we have. in Zoho Commerce, where you can actually build your own product descriptions, right? You can build your own images. It builds your own story, right? If you upload, for example, the same water bottle example which I take, just put it there, it actually writes a description for you. It saves time and money for actually going to a content writer. For example, if you sell groceries and items, just imagine you'll have like thousands and thousands of products. You can't sit and write product descriptions for each one of it, right? So, and again, if you go to a content writer, there's a charge for it. So this will do it for you. Just upload the picture and it helps you to write your own product description. Next is, I think this is from the Zoho inventory side of it. This is one very important features which we have using, is that using the package geometry, you'll be able to package your orders better. So probably it will tell you that what is the size of the package, what is the dimension, how can you arrange, which kind of a box you have to use. And then it will help you in overall reducing, planning your inventory, planning your shipping, right? Which kind of boxes you should be able to use for your products, what is the correct shipping measurements, and how do you want to send it, whether to UPS or a FedEx, what kind of rates, everything. So you can decide your packaging better, you can decide your delivery planning better, you can do your shipment better. This is one existing feature what we have in Zoho inventory. So bank reconciliation, the words, it's a very bad word for, and it's a very time consuming thing. So with Zoho Books, it reconciles your accounts in few clicks, right? It keeps your thing. So once your expenses or the transaction comes in, automatically reconciles, saving you time. Just connect back to what I said. It will help you to actually save time. So the AI should help you to save time, actually replace all your mundane tasks rather than actually focusing on that. The next, which is, okay, this is one very interesting thing. This have been with Zoho Expense for a longer time before AI was AI, right? This is the kind of a basic OCR based recognition of your receipt. So we have been using it for a long time without knowing this is also a kind of a basic form of an AI thing, right? So what it does is that when you have any receipts, it automatically captures the receipt. It actually picks up the line items. For example, you all stay in the hotels here and everything. So when you scan an invoice of Marriott, so it has probably you ordered some food to your room. So it automatically auto itemizes between the food and your stay, right? It picks up, separates everything so that you don't need to manually itemize the thing. So it automatically itemizes this thing. It reads in 38 languages, right? Probably you travel abroad, there's language addiction. It reads the invoice in 38 languages, extract in. It also auto categorizes and auto reconciles. For example, if you put like any food, like Starbucks, let's take an example. So once you input it at Starbucks once, whenever there's a bill comes from Starbucks, anyway, it actually categorizes it as food. If you actually put a kind of an airline ticket for the first time and write, hey, this is airline, it automatically auto categorizes and make it. So you don't need to actually enter every time when you actually put an expense there. The next one, which is actually is a new feature coming from a new product. I don't know how many have heard that we are actually launching a product called Zoho Spend as part of Zoho Finance Suite. Here, I think you'll be handling invoices from your customer, right? With as part of Zoho Spend, what we can do is that when the vendor submits his invoices, we have the vendor portal. He don't need to even mail the invoice. He can submit the invoice in his vendor portal, and automatically we have a three-way matching to actually match between your PO, your good receipt, and the invoices. It auto matches. It actually highlights any anomaly is there. If there's any challenge with that, it checks that one and then see if there's anything, so that it saves you time. And actually, so for example, you place the purchase order for 10 water bottles and then you received only 9. You have to only pay for 9. So you don't need to manually check whether that thing is there, whether the product has been delivered on time, whether you have received 9, everything. So you don't need to do anything. So it automatically auto matches everything and then says, and then you will be paying only for 9. Right? And then it adapts different, and one good thing about this feature is that it adapts different formats. Like if it's a PDF, it is coming in different formats, what vendor uses, it reads all the formats and actually extracts the data and compares and then say, hey, you ordered for 10 water bottles, but only 9 is received, but the invoice is raised for 10, so you have to only pay for 9. Right? So it gives you all the anomaly, it highlights all the anomalies over there so that you don't need to lose money over there without checking. So now you guys are doing it manually, but you don't need to do it manually. It can be automatically done here. Next on the complaints part, okay, this is one thing which we are already in place. I think probably some of you had heard the payments presentation in the morning. So in case of payments, we have this AI-driven risk clustering where you can identify groups of payment transaction or merchants that exhibit similar patterns or characteristics, and then you'll be able to find any fraud happening. For example, if there's a similar kind of amount or similar kind of transaction happening in different regions or something, you'll be able to identify it and then actually build a pattern saying that when this kind of transaction from this kind of merchant comes, you'll be able to cluster it and then actually highlight if it's a fraud or not so that you can actually stop it beforehand. There's one more thing, which is the duplicate entry detection, which is one more important feature, which is also part of Zoho Expense and then also Zoho Spend and your procurement AP modules. You'll be able to automatically, for example, you have like 3-4 employees visiting for a junket, for exhibition or something, and you're getting the same invoices submitted by 2 people, or else the same person submits the invoice twice, right? It's not only if I go for a trip and then if I submit the same invoices twice, it will actually say it's a duplicate one. It's not only I do, across the team, if someone uses the same invoice or same receipts and submit the thing, it will actually highlight saying that there's a duplicate invoice. So you can do two things. One, you can actually highlight a violation, or else you can even block. So it's up to you to decide whether you want to block the receipt or you wanted to highlight the duplication. So this is where I was saying you can save cost with that, or else you will normally pay for this receipt, pay for the invoice saying it without knowing that's a duplicate to it, right? So AI should actually save you in saving money. So these are the different automatic fraud detection which we have as part of Zoho Expense and all the Zoho Spend modules and also in Zoho Books. You can blocklist merchants based on the spurious activities. If you think that some things you want to stop, for example, you don't want your employees to actually consume alcohol during the trips, right? You can actually blocklist merchants who are selling alcohols, because how it works is that in case of card payments, the merchants are listed based on the categories, right? So if you want to block a particular merchant category, you can do it automatically so that you will not be able to actually get it done. Suspicious modification, for example, there is a receipt which is submitted, but it has been monitored or changed. For example, there is a receipt for $10 from Starbucks, but the employee entered it as $15. So if there's a mismatch between your receipt and your data, what you have entered, it will actually highlight saying that there is a mismatch between these things. So even it can be a kind of human error. You would have mistakenly did for $10, you would have put $100, right? You don't need to manually check, it automatically highlights that. You don't need to do that. Then reimbursements, you can manage the receipt data mismatch, what I was talking about. Exchange rate verification, you can actually do exchange rate verification in real time on the particular date. You don't need to actually go and manually search what is the exchange rate on the particular date. You'll be able to actually do it live whenever date, whatever the exchange rates to the perfect decimals will be automatically captured. Unauthorized expenses, which I was talking about, is also there. Again, the third part of the use of AI in finances to analytics and forecasting. This is what we have been referring to, the insights. You have like tons and tons of data. With ZI Insights, what you can do is you will be able to get the data, which it will find what are the patterns, what are the anomalies which is happening. Is there any particular pattern which is you are seeing across all data? So the more the data you give, more accurate the results are. It will pick up the insights. This is inbuilt in most of the reports in Zoho Billing and all your revenue regression. So you don't need to actually manually sit and then like go through all the data and find a pattern, right? It actually made wonders to a lot of people, right? Particularly you are in a business, e-commerce business, if you're in business which sells a kind of huge amount of a grocery item or any other like fast moving consumer goods, it's easy for you to actually get the insights, right? You don't need to do that. It automatically throws up the insights, give all the negative, positive things so that you just use the data. So as I told you, data is not worth it if you don't get insights out of it. You have to convert your data into action. You have to convert your data into insights, or else there's no use of data. So the very important thing, how you are ready with the data for AI. So your data has to be AI enabled to actually throw all these insights, right? And then again, it's the forecasting part of it, which someone was actually saying, which is one cool feature which I personally like, is that it can be applied to different ways. For your revenue forecasting, you can actually build up, you can predict your signups, you can predict your net customer revenue, average revenue per user, everything right? So that is why the importance of data comes. As much of data you feed into the system, it actually projects you with a kind of accuracy. It actually picks up the seasonality, it picks up everything, and then gives you a kind of projection saying that, hey, this is what you are projected to. This can be applied to your revenue, it can be applied to your products, it can be applied to your expenses, so that it helps you to budget properly, right? Right now, how do you budget? Budget based on probably last year's. Normally, this is how I used to budget. For example, I spend X amount of money for my employee expenses this year. Next year, I will add up to the same amount. But there may be a seasonality once in 2 years. So once you feed 4-5 years of data into it, it throws up the seasonality exactly. This is for the 5 to 6 year trends, and then you need to budget like accordingly. And then with Zoho Finance Automation, you can also able to see like whether before approving your employee cost or a vendor purchase or anything, you'll be able to the real-time budgeting, see whether I can approve this, where am I under my budgets and actuals. Normally what we do is post-mortem. Once we spend and then we say, hey, I exceeded my budget. So one thing which I always tell my customers is also that never do a post-mortem, right? Because they will actually like give like spurge on the employees on the business trips in the first 6 to 8 months. Next 4 months, they say there's no business trips. You purchase everything in first 8 months and next 4 months, I'm stopping the procurement. You shouldn't do that because one, it affects the employee morale, affects everything. So what you have to do is that how do you optimize this thing? For that, you need to have the better visibility of your forecasting, your expensing and everything. So that is what this gives you so that you do across the years as same. The last one, which I think most of the AI sessions what you have attended would have been given you, which is the improves customer experience with AI, where we get a kind of a L1 support aided by the Ask Zia tool to give everything. It gives personally, for example, if you take a tool like Zoho Books or Zoho Inventory, you can just type in, say what I want, and it throws up every content possible. Gives you a more of a generative AI kind of content, doesn't throw up you the links, but tells you what exactly to do. So that's whatever we have till now, and this is what it's actually coming in future. This is in the timelines of other 6 months. So again, we are actually getting into advanced forecasting in Zoho Books, which has more accuracy of forecasting, collecting all the seasonality data and everything. We are actually coming up with an anomaly detection with the same thing of any anomalies in case of invoices or in your transactions, in case of your payments, because everything anomaly detection will be across all the functions. We will also have a finance assistant agent coming in to help you to guide in saying that, hey, how do I close books soon? How do I do this? How do we everything? There will be an agent to help you as a kind of a basic level of support in solving the problem here. In Zoho Expense, we are building the expense forecasting, and then we will be actually having the expense screening under the band categories. We will be, again, the anomalies will be there. We're actually coming up with something called travel assistance. So it will actually give you, before you travel, it gives you a kind of a weather forecast in that area. It gives you warnings if there's something happening. It actually scrolls around all the news around the area and then tells you, hey, in this place, there is some like problem is going to happen. There is some like revolt will happen. So it goes to the particular city where you're traveling and tells you what is going around in the city. And then probably to the next step, what you are thinking is that because most people travel for business, but they also wanted to have leisure. We call something called bleisure. So it will also throw up suggestions for saying that where can you visit for a dinner tonight, right? So you're going for business, but you can actually go to the restaurant nearby. This is near to your place. So comes up with the suggestions on where can you have your restaurant dinner, where can you take your clients and all those stuff. So that's very exciting thing, which I like more. And then the audit enhancements, what we are thinking is that, for example, your employees take Uber on a weekend, which is not supposed to take, and put it on your expenses. So we will be able to highlight it saying that someone has taken the Uber on weekend, which is not allowed to take. So you have to like see why this has been there. So, and also the handwritten receipts, we are planning to actually see like, because normally the audits are good with the printed receipts. We are actually trying to come up with an audit if someone is handwritten, which is not avoidable, like we can actually have things for that also. And Zoho Commerce, which is one more exciting thing, which there's a lot of things happening in the background, is one I said we can actually auto-generate the product description. Second thing, we are coming up with a chatbot for store, like for example, your customer, when you use Zoho Commerce, there'll be a chat front for your customer to actually come up with any information, questions, concerns regarding the products. And then we are also coming up with product search with images, which at least Google does now, but we will also come up with it in the Zoho Commerce. And then we can actually generate images in future. For example, you have a beautiful picture of you with the family, and you have something in the background, you wanted to remove it, which is part of the Samsung's this thing, so that will be inbuilt here also. If you can actually, this normally comes with when you sell groceries or something, they take a picture of the thing. When you upload, you want to remove some things in the background, so with the tool you can actually remove those things, so you don't need to spend for all those very costly what are image selling platforms, right? You can take picture with, you have a good clarity of the camera, you can take the picture, edit it, do it paka, and then upload it. And then we are actually, for inventory, we are having two things. One is the replenishment agent and the warehouse agent, which helps you to decide your shipping better, where to go. Because, for example, if you have 4 shipping partners, it will help you to select which is the right shipping partner for the optimum cost, which help you to save the cost through. It will help you to decide which shipping partner you should take, which will be optimal for the particular city and everything. So these are few things, but there's lot of things in the way. I have put some things which is in a kind of a very known horizon of probably to 6 to 8 months within this year. So, but there are at least 3 times of those things we are working on it. But I was not able to put here because I don't know when it will be possible. So this is the first level of things what we are working about. We are excited about AI, and probably it makes life easier for all of you as finance professional and for me. And I use more of ChatGPT for my marketing also, so it makes my life easier too. But I was afraid in the beginning that it will replace my job, but it makes my job efficient. So I used to publish, for example, 4 content in a week. Now I'm doing 8 to 10 actually. So it helps me to actually make my job efficient and better. So I hope with AI in finance, it makes your life easier, superb in future. Thank you.